Good morning, magandang umaga po. I'm sick and tired of talking about what's happening in the Philippines when it comes to this pandemic. So, let's give it some rest. Nothing is happening. For now, let's go back to the topic of retirement. Just how do you do retirement budgeting? I'm sure a lot of you know this very simple concept. But what I'm going to offer here is a spreadsheet that you will be able to periodically revise so that you can get this thing updated. It takes a long time for you to write everything down on a piece of paper, adding them up and things like that. And when things are difficult to do or update, you don't get to update them. So, I thought I will prepare a tool for you, although it is basic, it is simple. It will at least guide you through the process of budgeting. So stay with me and we'll take a look at it. Hang loose. Before we proceed with the so-called budgeting, I created a video, do you really need $1 million to retire? And over there is a spreadsheet. There's a spreadsheet, a very simple one-page spreadsheet with 9 variables that you have to put in for you to determine how much money you need to save per month today so that you will be adequately funded when you retire. Hopefully for most of you, it will be not just making things okay, but hopefully you will save more than what you really need, because you need that. You need money for emergency. So before we continue on with that, I'm going to show you the spreadsheet and I will review it very quickly. Again, if you need to know the detail, there is a link down below. And let me show you how to get the link, okay? Because some people are asking me, gee, where is the link? I cannot find it. So let me show you first how to find the link. Okay, this is the video I have where it says 1 million, do you really need 1 million savings to retire? And on this side of the screen, you will see the spreadsheet that we're going to talk about very quickly, because if you need details, you can get to this video. And to get to the video, all you have to do is to scroll down below, and you will see down here, it says free Excel model. And here's the link. Here is the link. Now, if you're watching it on TV, you may not be able to get this. Or if you're using your cell phone or Android device or iPhone, you may not be able to access this. So get onto your laptop, get onto your computer, and that is where you will get this. Besides, you cannot go through this spreadsheet using your device anyway. Okay, your iPhone or your Android. So get your laptop or desktop computer to get it. So it is down below the video. So that's how you get this. Okay, so now let's get to that screen that I just showed you. And I'll go through it very quickly. First of all, you will see here that there are only 9 variables that you need to put in. The investment return on your money, your current age, your desired retirement age when you think you want to retire, assume age at the time of death, okay? So you will have to speculate what your mortality is using your parental history, or you know what I mean? Accumulated savings to date, that's easy because you have your statements, you know how much savings you have so far. Now, the highlighted ones here are the 2 things that we will need to work on today, okay? Estimated annual inflation rate, that's an estimate, that's an assumption. It will give you, okay, that will give you the total. And then the last thing is, in addition to living this, according to this, $1,800 per month, you want to have some savings. Why? You may want to have a reserve for your hospitalization in case you get sick. emergency in case you need to go back to the US, to Canada, or wherever you're from. if you have such plans or eventualities. And if you don't use them, at least you have something to give to your children, to your heirs, in form of inheritance. That is the purpose of that. Now, do you need 1 million? No. Because if you have, let's say, $200,000 today, I mean, at the time of your retirement, that is going to be worth 1.2 million. Assuming you can maintain that rate of return of, say, 6%. That is an assumption, a very little number, but it's very important. It's very important. If you miss that, let's say if you only make 4% or 3%, you're in trouble. So what I suggest is, if you think you'll make 6, assume 3. Be on the low side. And then each year, if you're high, you will see you will accumulate more. This is not intended to be precise, but just to give you a ballpark of where you think you're gonna be and what you think you should save. Talking about this, minimum monthly savings required, $267 a month. Okay? So for this particular spreadsheet that I will give you, we will address the 2 highlighted ones: the cost of living at retirement age at today's cost, and the estimated pension, social security benefit at retirement age, and other income. On my original spreadsheet, that other income is not included, so I just included that now as an afterthought, because when you retired, guess what? You'll be receiving pension, social security, and then you're retired. You don't want to work. But some of you may have invested in real estate, so you have rental income that could supplement your retirement expenses. Or some of you may want to do part-time work. But if I were you, I will just ignore those for purposes of this. And if later you're getting bored, you want to work, you want extra income, go for it. It will not hurt whatever you have here. It will only help it. Okay? One last comment. If using this, you wind up with a negative number in the minimum monthly savings, that means you're set for life. That means you don't have to do anything. It doesn't mean that you can withdraw. You just say, you just stop. Okay? So now we'll move on. This is the spreadsheet I prepared today. Monthly receipt and expenses. There are 2 columns. The first column is, what is your present receipt and expense numbers? That's the first thing you need to do. For those who have a financial system that tracks their expenses, this is very easy. For those who do not, what I suggest you do is, for 1 month or 2 months, try to log on copiously all the expenses for you to know how much you're spending for groceries. Yeah? You go to grocery every week, every day. Sometimes you lose track. You spend so much you did not even know. So it's very important to do this if you do not have a financial system or a check writing system. Some of you may be using cash, some of you may be using credit card, and then you toss away the receipt, the credit slip, the credit card slip. This is not the time to do that. You have to keep track of it. So now let's go through the items we're talking about here. Interest income. Of course, if you have investment, you'll have interest income. You may have some dividend income if you have stock holdings. Now, I'm going to explain this. Employment income, in case, well, for now you will have that, but later it'll probably be 0. Okay, see, these receipt and expenses at retirement. So this is the first thing that you need to fill out, and then you will take a look at this. Now, rental income. Okay, if you decided to buy a property to rent out so that the rent will help you in your day-to-day living expense, you'll have to include that here, but you also have to include the expenses you are incurring. You're paying real estate tax, you're paying whatever. Make sure when it says less, those should be negative numbers, because this total receipt is just the sum of this entire this entire column. So if you put a positive number there, it will be added instead of deducted. So this should be, the ones with asterisk should be negative numbers. Now you have 401k. You put it in there, the distribution that you will receive, tax withholding. If you decide to withhold taxes, it's a negative number. IRA, positive, tax withholding, negative number. Social Security for yourself, and over here is for your wife. And either you have Plan B, Medicare premium, or other premium, tax withholding. Suppose you have supplemental plan, you could also ask them to deduct it from Social Security check. So anything that gets deducted, this is the gross amount here, Social Security benefit, and then you subtract any premium or any other things that gets deducted, tax withholding. For your wife, same thing. And then, this is a catch-all. If you have anything else that I did not anticipate, put them here. I provided 3. If you have more than 3, just put in a small piece of paper to support that number and put it as one line item. Others, plug it in. Okay? Now, once you have done this, you will have to go to receipts and expenses at retirement. So you say, what will I have? Employment income will disappear, but no, I'm not going to buy a rental property, so that will be no-go, nothing. Or if you say, I'm going to get a rental property, then plug something in, because that's something you can collect. Your 401k, maybe you're not getting anything now. Maybe you're already semi-retired, so you may be getting something, so you can plug it in. You already know the number. But if you're not, that will be 0 on this present receipts and expenses, but then at retirement, you will have all those numbers. Now, what is this here? Let's go back to the previous slide or previous screen. You will include the cost of living at retirement here, but do not include interest income or dividend income. Why is that? Because that is already included in the 6% yield. If you have this much money today, and you're making 6% yield, let's say, that's just an example, don't include that anymore or you will be double counting it. Okay, so that will be captured here, but all the rest you include here. Let's go back. So all these items here you should include in that section. Now, why did I not include this? Because you may need to include it, you may not. I don't know if you want to put in here some other miscellaneous income or dividend or capital gains or whatnot that is included in the yield. If that is the case, then you exclude it. If you have any other income, you may have to include it too. That's why I did not put this dotted line down here. So you may or may not have to include the items here. But the object is do not double count. Okay? Now let's go through the expenses. The expenses, let's go through it. Auto, you'll have gas, licenses and registration, parking, toll, others. Charity, donation, clothing, dining, education, seminars, entertainment, movies, etc. Gifts given, if you're giving gifts, groceries. Now, you will have your current expenses here and you will have your projected expenses on the next column. This gas will probably be reduced because you'll be traveling less. Maybe you will not even have a car, so it will disappear. Licenses, legislation, that's related to the car. Parking, same thing. Maybe you are parking to work. Now you don't have to work. Same thing with a toll. Charity donation, maybe you'll be giving less. Clothing, you will have less clothing because you're not going to work in suit or whatever. Same thing with dining, maybe you'll cut back on that one. Or sometimes you're forced to cut back in order to make the numbers fit how much money you're getting to receive in pension and Social Security. Same thing with the groceries. Maybe this will be higher because before you spend money on restaurants while you are working, but now you'll be eating at home all the time. So look at what you're spending now and where you're spending it And then you will realize that it might go up or down when you retire. Medical or household expense, housing, include here the insurance for home or apartment, home repair, maintenance. Utilities are down below. That for medical, you have the doctor's fees, medicine, vitamins, laboratory work, hospitalization. You may want to allow a certain amount for hospitalization, although, for example, next 2 months while you're tracking your expenses, you were not hospitalized, you might want to set aside, say, $50 a month for hospitalization. That's about let's say $100 a month. That's about $1,200 a year. Maybe not unreasonable because we're old. Okay, something will happen. Likely to happen, I mean. What was I? Hospitalization. Okay. Then you have moving expenses. Okay, you will have a lot of moving expenses while you're in the process of moving somewhere else. Nothing at retirement. Same thing at storage. Well, when you downsize and you went to a small place, you may need to pay for rental to store some of your things, assuming that's more economical. Postage and shipping, rent expense. If you decide not to buy a house or a condo, you will have rental expense. Taxes and insurance include here real estate, income tax. If you're still working and you have estimated tax, put it here, and others. Association condo fee if you decided to buy a condo, otherwise that will be zero. Common area utilities, that's related to the association or condominium also. Now, electric, regardless, you will have to pay for electric, internet service and cable, telephone, cellular, and water. So these where all the utilities go. Now, you want to go on vacation? Well, you have to set aside money for retirement, for travel, for hotel, rental car, dining, and others. Whereas here, maybe you have a lot of money to spend, blow away, you keep on going. Here, you will have a reduced one, or maybe you want from the US to the Philippines. It's going to be less expensive in the Philippines, supposedly anyway. Assuming you don't get quarantined. And then, anything else that I may have missed? Oh, dues and subscription. If you have subscription to certain magazine, maybe a lot of subscriptions before, or maybe software. Every year you pay for the software. Maybe it's going to be less, or maybe it will be disappear at retirement. And maybe you have other things here. Then you'll wind up with total expenses. And right here on this one sheet, you will see that when you retire, if you're receiving this much total income, and then you're receiving this much expense, and guess what? You either have a surplus or a deficit. The total expense here, now let's go back to the previous screen again. Over here is where you will put your cost of living at retirement today. This is based on today's cost. This inflation index here of 1.5% or whatever number you put in will project that to be your cost at retirement age. Okay? And then your Social Security pension and other income is going to be here. All right? Again, on other income, do not include the money that will already be counted as part of this. So to the extent you have this much savings, that will go up in value. Now, you might say, oh, and some people say, oh, gee, I will retire later because, hey, considering the inflation cost, my benefit will grow even more. But see, if you retire at 62 or 65 at an earlier age, you will also receive inflation adjustment, otherwise called as COLA, cost of living adjustment. Okay? You're not losing anything. You will be getting the same thing. So now when you stop at retirement age, let's say this one is age 65, your cost will be increased every year by COLA, and this Social Security benefit will be increased by COLA, and your 3,031 here will also go up by the COLA. So they will be floating together. So as long as your expense is within the Social Security or pension benefit you're getting, you'll be okay, because they will both be adjusted upwards. Now, as I said earlier, the reason I prepared this, and you can request this at the bottom of this particular video, you'll be able to request this spreadsheet. It makes things easier. You plug in the numbers, you say, oh, okay, and then you go to the other model, plug it in there, fine, okay, so this is the number I need to save every month. You save both models in your computer. After 6 months, at least no less than a year, after 1 year, or if there's any significant thing that happened to you, let's say you got sick, oops, I lost my savings, reflect it right away. So it'll be very easy to pull them back up and see what you estimated before and how it changes today based on what you know today. So it's going to be a lot easier for you to keep on changing and updating this information. So this is going to be your tool for planning your future, not only before retirement, but even after retirement. You can continue to do this. For example, if you think today it's 6%, let's say you reduce it down to 3% to be conservative, and then at the end of the year you update it and say, oh gee, I'm hitting 5%. I'm going to increase my 3% to 4%. I'll adjust my savings today because it went up, and then update all this information, and you will have a constant ongoing budgeting process. Very simple. Do not try to be so detailed. Do a 5-year or 10-year budget, because I can guarantee you one thing. You will not hit it. A lot of these numbers will be changing. So there's only one thing that will happen in life: change. So the only thing I can do is just project 1 year. 1 year at a time, 1 year at a time. All those inflation rate and blah, blah, blah will take care of adjusting it towards the future. Inflation rate was very low before, but they're escalating now. Escalating now. What was the last one I heard? Is it 4, 5%? It used to be only 1% or even less than 1%. But most recently, since Biden took office, it has gone up. Hopefully, it will come back down. But I don't know how, with all these liberal programs he's planning to do. We'll see how it goes. But that will affect your budget. So guys, hopefully you'll find this helpful, and good luck with your planning process. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you find it helpful. Let me know if you don't. And do share this with other people. And I'll appreciate it if you can click like on my video, assuming you do, or even if you don't. And please make it a great day. God bless.